everyone, I'm Jodi and welcome to my channel. I'm really glad that you're here today. So today's video, we're going to talk about blush. Now at the beginning that may sound like a little bit of a boring topic, I know. However, blush deserves some love. It has played a supporting actress role to our eyes and our lips for years. 52 to be exact. Well, I didn't wear makeup when I was born, but you know what I mean. So today we're going to spend some time talking about the blush do's and don'ts. I mean, the blush, there's good blush products. There's a variety of formulations for our more mature skin. So we're going to talk about what is best formula for you, how to apply it, where to apply it, and what looks best from a color perspective based on your individual skin tones. So I don't know about you guys, but as I get older, I definitely prefer cream blush over powder. What do you guys think? What's your favorite? Do you prefer cream or do you prefer powder? Leave me a comment. I'm curious to see and I'd love to read that. But I also want to talk about how we apply it regardless if you're a cream person or a powder person. Please make sure that you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell so that you're notified when a new video comes up, which is every Monday and Thursday at around 3 o'clock Pacific time. So if this is a video that you are interested in, then get out your blush, get your brush, your sponge, whatever you use, and we're gonna do it together. I clearly need some blush today, so I'm looking forward to getting this underway. All right, so the first thing that we have to decide about our blush is our shape face. It would be irresponsible for me to say, this is where you put your blush, because it's just like the shape of your eyebrows. It's really dependent on the shape of your face. So here's just a variety of shapes and that with the placement that would look the best with your shape face. So once you've identified what shape is best for you and your blush, then we need to go and decide what type of product do you like. Now, as we age, like I said earlier, a cream blush typically wears better for more mature skin if you have dry skin. It sits nicer on the skin versus a powder where it's a little more drying. Typically a cream will show a little bit less texture of the skin and just wears really nice on top of foundation or without foundation. Now on the powder side, if you have combination or more oily skin, then you can probably get away with the powder just fine. However, if you want your blush to last throughout the duration of the day, if you have a long event and you need it on for a long time, then you want to apply both on both skin types. So for a long wear, long staying power, put a cream blush, then set it with a powdered blush. Now remember, the thing here is that you definitely want the two formulas, cream on bottom, then the powder, but you're not trying to double the color of the blush. So you don't want to have two different colors. You really want those to complement one another and not really dark. So then the next thing is, once we decide, are you a cream person or a powder person, then let's take a look at how you apply the blush. So here are, if you're a powder person, more oily skin, here's a sample of two different kind of brushes. Now you want a light, dense brush for your blush, really loose bristles. This is actually a highlighter brush. This is Max 107S. Another really good blush brush is the Sigma Soft Blend 60. I love this one because it's tapered. The kind of brushes that you want to stay away from if you're using powdered blush is brushes such as this. Now this is a good brush in its own right. I'm just using it for purposes of demonstration, the type of brush that you do not want for blush. And that's because you can see how densely packed that brush is. And that will mean you'll put a lot of color on the brush and a lot of color on your face. So where you're wanting more of sort of that transparent, opaque, just sort of a hint of color, you want a more loosely packed brush. Now, if you're on the cream side of things, then you're gonna wanna go with a damp beauty sponge, but by damp, I just mean damp. You shouldn't be able to squeeze it and get any moisture out of it at all. This is just really, truly damp. And I like to use this Real Technique one because it has this nice slanted side there, nice curve, and then a nice point. So I can just get in all these certain areas that I want. Now, the other thing about the placement of the blush is you want to make sure that you're not pulling that blush all the way to your hairline. If you are contouring, yes, your contour should go into your hairline, but your blush should not. Now, in terms of layering your contour, blush, and highlighter, think about that sort of as a Christmas tree, if you will. So your contour will go from your hairline the farthest out. Your blush will go not quite as far back, not quite as close to the end, and then your highlighter will go just on the top of that cheek. So almost a Christmas tree. Now, in terms of the type of blush, this is for cream or for powder. You're gonna wanna use more of a matte color and stay away from shimmers. So that's really gonna be important because as we age, our skin has more texture in it, and that shimmer, glimmer will start to pick up some of those textures. Now you might be thinking, gosh, can I wear highlighter? And I would say absolutely yes. But as we age, we have to find a highlighter that is really just shiny, but you can't tell why it's shiny. Does that make sense? We want it to look almost wet on the skin, but not see any tiny, tiny specks of glitter or anything like that, because that's where you'll pick up those textures. And then last but not least, you really want to think about the color of your blush. So for example, if you have lighter skin tone and you want a blush look, you still want to stay away from too light of a blush. Here's a great example. This is a very pretty blush. I love this one. However, whatever the blush looks like in the pan, 9 times out of 10, it's gonna be about 2 shades lighter on your skin unless you layer it, and with powders, that's a no-go. So when you see a color that you think is really pretty, go a shade darker in the pan and that will be the color that you get. You can see as pretty as that color is, it just is not going to wear very well. And if it's too light, it can then start to look a little chalky on your skin. A good alternative to this, for example, where I want this sort of light rosy pink peachy color, would be one like that. So you can kind of tell the difference of what I want it to look like. I love this color, but I want it to look like that on the skin. So I really need to go for something a few shades darker. Now, this one here is Rosé by Laura Mercier, and it is one of my favorites. And another one of my powdered favorite blushes is from the Butter Dreamin' Team by Physicians Formula, and it's just the center one right here. And I love this one. I love this whole palette. It has a bit of a scent, a little bit of a fragrance, and it hasn't caused me a migraine yet. I shouldn't say yet. It hasn't, so thank goodness it's never going to. But it has a little bit of a scent, so just know that if you're any scent sensitive, then that might not be the right one for you. But at my age point, powder is my second favorite. My first is cream. So let's talk about some of the cream favorites. You guys know Kiko Milano has been a favorite of mine for years. The colors are just beautiful. I think this one is their Dusty Mauve. It's the one I'm gonna wear today. It's just, I love this one. Another one of my favorites is from LYS, and this is a clean brand, and this is their Self Love. I really, really love this one. Whenever I wear this one, I get compliments on my makeup. So, and the only thing consistent I can think of is this blush. It doesn't wear nearly that dark. In fact, I might wear that one today. And if you want to bump up in price point and want more of a luxury cream blush for your more mature skin, or any skin, then Clé de Peau has some really, really pretty cream blushes, and this is number 4. And if you want to be in a hurry and not worry about your blush and then your highlighter, then you can always go with one of these, Color Fix by DM. This one's in Ballerina. I've showed this one before. This is my favorite in the summer. It's just so easy. It has a shimmer in it, so it's not a matte, as I just said. Kind of want to stay away from shimmer stuff. But I use this one in place of both blush and highlighter. So today we are gonna go with, gosh, I said I was gonna go with the Kiko Milano, but I actually think I'm gonna change that up. I think I'm gonna go with this LYS Self Love. So for the shape of face that I have, I just wanna get some on my sponge like that. I already have pretty high cheekbones, but I need them to appear not so hollow underneath. So I'm gonna skip the contour today, and I'm gonna place my blush right below. There's the center, sort of the outside of my eye. I wanna find the high point of my eyebrow. And this is true for most of us from a starting point of blush. The way your blush shapes this way or this way or this way is really where your face shape will come in. But most starting points is right about the high point of your eyebrow. Now, some people say I need to put this on the apples of my cheeks. Yes, you can. I just don't love that because the apples of my cheeks aren't in the same place anymore. But I do look for sort of that fatty tissue, the thicker tissue. I mean, as we age, the only thing that doesn't get thin as we age is our waistline, but our cheeks get thin, our face gets thin, and Lord knows our hair gets thin. But the waistline, Couldn't we have had something else go thin? So I like to sort of add a little bit of rosiness and depth and thickness to my cheeks. So again, we're gonna start right at the high point, and I wanna just place it where the fattiest part is. So right here is pretty thin. Here I've lost a lot of volume, collagen, and it's probably because of how much sugar I eat. And then I just place it so that I can, you know, look as close to Raggedy Ann as possible, because why wouldn't that be a good look? And then I just like to take it just ever so slightly up and then blend it around. Now I don't want this to go straight back to my hairline, and I don't want to leave any harsh straight lines. Now if we were back in the 80s, and most of you that watch this channel were, you know, we were teenagers somewhere in that realm, give or take 5 to 10 years, blush was a bold statement. Remember some of those CoverGirl ads and Max Factor ads? It was big, bold brows and a lot of blush. And I should be careful what I say, because we know how things circle back around, and that may be a trend again. I mean, we're trending putting blush underneath our eyes in terms of with concealer these days. So who knows where blush will go. But the point is, we just want to have a nice flush look to our skin. So just as if we just got done, you know, running or exercising or whatever else you do that makes your face get a little bit flush, just a nice rosy little cheek. And then you want to get rid of any of those lines so that it doesn't look as though we have anything placed there. It's just a nice natural look. Now, when it comes to selecting the best color for your skin, if you have more warmer tones, then you'll want to stick to more of a warm, rosy, peachy toned blush. And if your skin is more cool tone or more olive tone, then you'll want a more neutral or a cool toned. Now, the way to tell that is if you were to just pinch your cheek a little bit, what color comes forward what flush color does your cheek turn? Don't hurt yourself, but just a little, little pinch. Then find a color that's closely matched to that flushy color. Now, if you get a little bit too close to your nose, I try to always stay at least 2 fingers away from my nose and 2 fingers below my eye. If you get a little bit too high, cover it up with a little concealer up through here, a little bit of foundation right over there, and you're good to go. And then we'll just blend that in with this other side. Now, some people prefer to use their fingers with their cream blush. That is totally fine. It is really whatever your preference is. One doesn't necessarily work over the other. I think depending on the formula of the cream blush, the warmth from your fingers can certainly help it blend and sort of spread a little bit better. Getting too close to my hairline. And some people prefer just to use a damp beauty sponge for the whole blending process as well. Now you can see that my cheeks already look a little bit lifted because the placement of that blush is a little bit higher than the apples of my cheeks, and my blush stays in place whether I'm smiling or not, which is important, I think, as we age. Now, if you find that your blush is a little too close to the center of your nose and you just don't really like that look, or you think maybe it's a little too dark, that is no problem. Just simply take a little bit foundation or tinted moisturizer. In this case, I'm using the True Match by L'Oreal. And I just put it on that same damp beauty sponge that I was using. And we'll just go in and sort of clean that up just a little so that it is not quite as far down. And I also love to do this step because it blurs the lines of my blush. So that's an important step for me, is just to go back over it and blur that line with your tinted moisturizer, and being sure, of course, that you use the same one, the same color that you just used. Now, when you're using brushes for your powdered blush, it is important to make sure that you use a designated brush for your powdered blush versus your contour. Now, the reason that's important is because if you use the same brush and you get some of that powder blush on your brush and you've blushed your face, put your brush away, tomorrow you grab it, you do some contouring, and then you go to do some blush, you'll get sort of a muddy color on your blush color because of that contour still being left on your brush. So be sure to use a dedicated blush brush. I feel like I'm on a test today, a Hooked on Phonics test. Be sure you use your brush. Be sure to use your blush brush for blush only. Whew, Okay, let's not have to revisit that today. So there you go, really simple. Now the last thing that we wanna do is just give that blush a little kiss of highlight. I'm gonna use the Stila in Kitten. And the reason I like this is because it's a powder, but it wears like a cream. So it's the best of both worlds in my opinion. And I like to put that just on my middle finger because the width of my finger is about the only placement that I want that blush. So I'm literally just gonna go right on the outer point of my face, which is right here. And you can see that by looking in the mirror, just figuring out what sticks out the farthest on your face, your high point. And for me, it's that cheekbone. So I just want that blush or that highlight to go just right there. And then I just blend it in ever so slightly. We'll go back to this one. And ever so slightly. Now to set this, if you're a cream blush person, you can just simply spray it with a little setting spray. If you used powder, you can also just set it with a setting spray, or you can put a light translucent powder on it. The one thing to note is if you wear powder blush and you then set it with a setting spray has a tendency to intensify the color of any powder. That's why we dampen our eyeshadow brush before we put on eyeshadow if there's a darker, intense color that we want to get out of our existing palette. Same is true for your blush. So just be careful that you don't put too much setting spray on top of your powder blush because it will intensify the look of that blush, and it may only do it in spots where, you know, the mist has hit. You may finish your makeup look with a little bit of an uneven blush look if you've done it that way. So in order to avoid that, I just really, it's one of the reasons I like this because the mist is so fine, but I just hold it way out so that it just barely touches, but whatever works best for you. So there you go, you guys. I hope this was helpful. And where's the best placement for your specific shaped face to flatter your makeup look? Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.